Welcome back to the Hearthstone Alphabet Tournament Basic League, where we are pitting letter-themed decks against each other. Today's game is game number 6, O versus R, Priest versus Warlock. Just to quickly go over the rules, cards must contain in their card name the letter represented by their deck. Just using the basic set only for a bit of deck restriction. All class cards for are legal, must be used, and the class that is chosen to represent the letter was based on who had the most legal cards in their class set. Looking at the deck lists here, I feel that this priest is definitely stronger than the previous priest we saw that was representing the letter D because of the inclusion of Holy Smite and Holy Nova. The Warlock is also looking a little bit stronger, not as much stronger than its previous iteration, which was representing the letter I, mostly because of the removal of the pointless Sacrificial Pact and the inclusion of 2 more cards that do something. Okay, game number 1, here we go. Mind Vision, very nice. Power Infusion is a really powerful buff. I think a bit stronger than a lot of other basic card set buffs. It was included very recently in the latest update to replace a couple of priest cards that are Hall of Famed. Mind Vision's in the hand, it's quite exciting. I have learned something since my last cast doing priest. I thought that Mind Visions took something out of the deck, but if I read the card I would know it takes something out of the hand. Which is just, you learn. You don't usually see Mind Visions, so I don't do any prep for these. Okay, it gets Mortal Coil. That's pretty good. Actually, it's really good, bit of card draw and able to ping something off. Yeah, I think that's quite good. Of all of them, I think I would have worn a Mortal Coil. Let's take a look at the Warlock's hand. It's not amazing. Not many minions to play on curve. I think you want to draw Soulfire, Hellfire, even Corruption later on. You want to save Corruption for a kind of like a Bold Fist Ogre or Stormwind Champion or something, I feel like. Gurubashi Berserker, quite a good draw. The priest can deal with it pretty easily with Shadow Word Pain. Voidwalker being played early on. I still stand by my case that sometimes it's worth saving a Voidwalker so you can defend a more important minion later on, as the Voidwalker's damage is pretty negligible. Took a risk going for the word negligible. I usually struggle with saying that word out loud. Pretty proud of myself there. Very nice trade. 2 for 1 with the Shattered Sun Cleric. Holy Smite drawn off the top. It's a recently buffed card. Used to do 2 damage but could go face. Now it just targets minions but goes for 3 damage. Using the Power Word Shield to buff up the minion just so it doesn't die to what's on the board. I think that's a fair play, just to establish some early board dominance. You want to get control and then you can kind of snowball. In this league, well, not so much in this matchup. I was going to say in this league getting a wide board can be quite difficult to deal with, but the Warlock does have the Hellfire, Priest has the Holy Nova, so I think it's not quite the case here. That will be a problem for the priest to deal with, that Gurubashi. I clearly missed the second Mind Vision getting played because there is a Soulfire in the deck, in the hand, which I think we could be seeing played this turn to deal with the Gurubashi. Power Infusion making that a very chunky boy. I think that could get corrupted next turn. Yeah, that's about the best you can hope for. I'm wondering if you played the Dread Infernal instead or the Archmage instead. The Archmage will scale up the Soulfire and I think Hellfire. You would think it'd be obvious what spells scale, but ever since Radiance did not get spell power off of the Dalaran Mage, I just don't know. Until I've seen it, I just cannot be sure. Looks like he's going to save the corruption and go for a sulfur. I don't really like that because you're really likely to discard one of those 6 drops. And 4 damage isn't that threatening. I say play the... I guess he really wants to save the corruption for something stronger. Because if the thing, you can get healed next turn. So it's not going to be a super clean trade. No mission inventor drawn. Nice bit of card draw. Card draw is a premium for the warlock. Sorry, premium for the mage. Premium for the mage. And not such a big deal for the warlock because of the hero power. And luckily the priest isn't too aggressive. So has plenty of time to tap. Doesn't have any healing in the deck though. Lifesteal was not a thing in the basic set. Got the Shadow Word Pain. Far too late for that. I mean, it will come in use later on for sure, but you would have much rather drawn a Shadow Word Death there because the warlock has 2 very big minions ready to come out and play. I reckon we'll be seeing the Dreading... which one will we be seeing first? Dread Infernal. I'm going for Dread Infernal. That way, when you play the Stormwind champion, the 1/1 buffing automatically does something. Even the Warlock's deciding. Also drew the Fellstalker, which is a slightly big body for a 2-mana card, but the discard... You got 2 corruptions in there, I don't think you would mind discarding, but you don't want to discard the Stormwind champion. That's risky. I think you want to make sure that is played before you play the Fellstalker. The Ogre Magi is... Oh, I mean, it's an alright draw. I still think you would have preferred Death. The Warlock looking very much in charge. More cards, better board. Gets a good discard on the Soulfire, and there we go. That's what I'm talking about. It's going to get pained, but you know. And a Death off the top for a double Shadow Word whammy. The Warlock was in a really nice position, but the Priestess has managed to do at least something to stabilise. Thinking about holding on to the pain as the 1/3, not too bad, and can Holy Smite it anyway. Nope, gonna go for it. We are getting, well, next turn for the priest will be mind control territory. It's not drawn in yet, but this is when the priest is at its most deadly. However, Warlock is able to absolutely flood the board. Gets the second corruption discard, playing the Fellstalker last, very good. And the priest is looking absolutely screwed. Is that game? Because Razorfen Hunter is just not the good draw right now. Holy Smite dealing with that. That's quite good actually. Good job he used the Death last time. Used the Pain last time. Six, 10, 13, needs 2 damage. Plays the Dread Infernal will only need 1 damage. You definitely tap first to see what you get. Oh, he's going all straight for it. I think this could be game. Doesn't even tap first. Doesn't need to. I don't think there's anything the priest could have drawn. The Warlock takes, very convincingly, game number 1. Okay, game number 2. Starts off with mind control this time. Probably going to get rid of it. Probably get rid of Power Word Shield as well. It can help take control of the board early on, but I think you'd rather just have a minion. The Warlock's curve looking pretty nice. 1 drop, 2 drop. Actually, I think the priest has an even better curve. 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop. Do you play the Holy Smite to deal with that Void Walker? I don't think so. I think you save it for something more dangerous. Chooses to Mind Vision rather than Geomancer. I'm not quite sure that was correct either. Priest maybe planning for the long game. Gets the coin from the Mind Vision. Interesting. Is that what you wanted? I mean, it's one extra mana at some point, so it's not useless. I still would have preferred a Dread Infernal, but very similar to the last game. Bloodburn Raptor coming down on an empty board to say, "Rawr! It's my board." Ogre Magi. Oh yeah, using the coin to get the Ogre Magi out early, buffing it up. Use a lot of casts to do this, which is just going to get a Soulfire. Does not put the Priest in a very strong position. Warlock's thinking about how to respond. I definitely like the Soulfire play. Gonna tap first, just check the options. Wolf Rider. Nice bit of burst. Of course it has charge. Priest will be able to Shadow Word Pain it if he comes down. Pretty weak to Holy Nova. But you know, I'm sure the Wolf Rider will be able to do something this game. I think we may see Hellfire on that board. I think it's a bit over the top, unnecessary. Even if you just play the Wolf Rider to go into the 2-3. Fellstalker discards the Soulfire. Okay. He still was in the Dread Infernal. I feel like this game is going a little bit slower than the other one. Second Mind Visions. Hellfire. That could become important. If the Priest had a Hellfire last game, I think maybe something could have ended differently. I do want to point out the Mind Control is already in the hand for turn 10. In the basic set, you want to kill the Priest before turn 10 if you can. Because, as we've seen in... Have we seen in past games? Well, let's put it this way. If you get to turn 10, that's when you're putting your big minions down, but they've got to rest. If the Priest has 2 of them, it will just take one Mind Control, thank you very much, and then you play the second one, oh, second Mind Control, thank you very much. It really swings the game around. So you want to do as much damage early on. I think you want to play your big minions early on. Hope you draw them early. So the Priest is forced to Mind Control weaker things. Fellstalker discards the Dread Infernal. No! How could you? At least it won't get Mind Controlled. Priest thinking about Hellfiring that because it doesn't have any great way to deal with it otherwise. But I think being a little bit more greedy, going to wait for the Warlock to play into the Hellfire a little bit more, but putting more minions down. However, the Warlock has countered that by playing a minion that will not die to the Hellfire. Priest thinking about doing it anyway because it's just so much damage at this point. I say the Priest isn't looking in an amazing spot. Whatever the Priest puts down, the Warlock can double drain life. Very aggressive. This is kind of walking into Holy Nova though, which is going to suck. But Holy Nova may not be enough. Double Holy Nova off the top will be enough. Crazy draw, and the Warlock does not have any minions in hand to continue the pressure, which means we may be walking into double Mind Control territory. Oh no. Exactly what I said is going to happen. He's going to play the Stormwind Champion next turn. He's going to get Mind Controlled. He draws a second big minion. It's going to get Mind Controlled. The Priest is going to swing this game around. maybe thinking about double drain life in, but I think based on your hand you do play the Stormwind champion. He's even going to play the corruption just to deal with that. It's fair enough. Could use the corruption, I think. Mind control. You definitely mind control. You're deaf when you don't have any more mind controls. Oh, can you imagine mind control being 8 mana? Which is how it was originally, I think. My goodness. Guru Berserker. It's not the best mind control target, but I think you take it. Look at that. And now if the priest goes face, the warlock can it do anything? Oh, okay. Good. Oh, Hellfire. I think there's enough damage in hand to deal with this. Let's have a look. Because when you play Hellfire, your Gurubashi will enrage, so you can kill the other Gurubashi. And the double drain life can deal with the champion. You are on. Oh, you'll be on 5 HP by the end of it. It's going to end up in a top decking battle. Frostwolf champion, Warlord even. Very nice. So the Warlock can't even tap really. I think this might be game. I don't think he can clear both minions. He can't clear a 5/7. Archmage won't be good enough. That's it. Tap to make sure. Dread Infernal. No, not good enough either. Looks like Priest takes game number 2. Okay, we go into game number 3, the decider. So game plans going into this. The Priest is going to want to stall until the late game. The Warlock is going to want to do as much early pressure as possible. Priest gets a what could be a bit of a dud hand depending on how his mind vision goes out. The Pain is nice for stalling in the early game. Mind vision is the Bloodfen Raptor, which yeah, I'll take that. It's going to be able to stop the Warlock from getting too ahead on board early on. Warlock does have quite a nice curve, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you don't probably want to play that 4, it'll kill all your 1, 2 and 3, but yeah, not bad, not bad. How do you deal with this? I don't think you do really. I think you just play your own Raptor or coin Wolf Rider and just go all the face. Warlock's having a think. Scott Priest has the Shadow of Death ready for when a Dread Infernal comes down. Yeah, goes for the Bloodfen Raptor and then goes face. So the Priest Bloodfen Raptor though is going to get a, looks like he's going to get a nice 2 for 1. Because I imagine the Warlock's going to put the Void Walker down next turn. So the Bloodfen Raptor's going to get 1 Void Walker, then he's going to get the second Void Walker. He just loves eating Void Walkers. Right, they're very nutritional. Mind Vision, what's he get? Hellfire. Pretty decent, especially given their hand. I think that's pretty decent. You don't really want to get the Soulfire because I don't think the Priest can deal with the discard. It would hurt it too much. Wolf Rider coming down, probably going to get a Pain, I imagine. If the Ogre Magi managed to stick on the board, it's a nice target for Power Infusion. May not be the Dread Infernal getting Shadow of Death, maybe the Stormwind Champion in the hand. This turn's pretty weak from the Warlock. Turn 4 you want to do something more than just playing 1 Void Walker. Blah. Geomancer. Yeah. Double spell power, which means in a bad case scenario for 6 mana you're getting a 4 damage to everything. It's like a Flame Strike on steroids, that. It's not bad. Yeah, that's an easy Soulfire target. Gets the Stormwind Champion though. Luckily the Warlock has a second one, but not ideal. You need all them because of the deaths and the mind controls and all that jazz. Still, the Warlock's managed to build a healthy board, forcing... ooh, there we go. Flame Strike on steroids. Maybe a bit over the top for the minions the Warlock had, but nonetheless, Priest just wants to stall. Luckily for the Priest, the Warlock couldn't reload after that AoE clear, giving Warlock all the momentum. I think you have to corruption that. You could if you were crazy go double drain life, Soulfire, but surely you corruption because that's one card versus 3 cards. Yeah. It would have made a nice power infusion, but now it definitely will not. Still, another minion. That'll make a pretty nice power infusion. Maybe next turn as a surprise kind of. Because if you do it now, you're just saying, target me, kill me now. Whereas a Warlock might leave it now and go, it's only a 2/4. It's not very impressive. But nope. Maybe the Warlock's paranoid. Hellfire? I think that's a bit over the top. I think the Warlock's playing a little bit desperately. Maybe just try it. I guess it's got less health as well, going into those dreaded turn 10 onwards. I'm not convinced that was the right play, but we're going to have to move past it now. Warlock managing to reload. Stormwind Champion into a Felsstalker. That's probably the play I would make. I guess the Warlock just doesn't want to play his big minions because it knows they're going to get wiped out. A second Hellfire, that is looking a bit healthier. Puts the Warlock so low though. If the Priest manages to connect anything to face, it's really, really going to hurt. Power Infusion taking this out of Soulfire range. It's going to make it very hard for the Warlock to deal with. If he can deal with it at all. Because now the Stormwind Champion goes down, it does get deathed. Which means the Ogre Magi will go face. 2 turns in a row because obviously minions need a rest. They can't. The Warlock doesn't have any charge minions or rush minions. No such thing as rush yet.
Are you ready for this?
I think the plan is to Soulfire it and then pray you draw a Mortal Coil to go. Corruption. This is why you tap first, by the way. Oh, just in time. Screw you, mind control. Oh, look at that. The Warlock just crapped its pants. Maybe feeling a bit safer to play the Stormwind though. Probably doesn't have any other choice, I don't think, either. And that's just unfortunate. The Priest still doesn't have enough damage though. Still doesn't have enough damage to finish off the game, so the Warlock is still in this. But doesn't really have any way. It can deal with the 4/7, but then you can't deal with the 2/3 and the 1/1. Warlock's in a very difficult position, can't even tap. I think this is a game. You can clear one, you cannot clear the others. Impossible. Taps. Suicide. That is the game, that is the series. The Priest takes it 2-1. Just a quick look at the leaderboards here, see how things are shaping up. The letter O deck goes on to play the N deck, represented by the Rogue, in the quarterfinals. And our next game in the series will be S versus T, Rogue versus Hunter. Thank you for watching, stay tuned.